All right. I want to talk about Republicans cutting off their nose to spite their face and then blaming the left for it. That feels like a really dumb and weird thing to do, but I do want to go ahead and acknowledge that sometimes terribly funny things happen as a result of, well, what Republican lawmakers have done. So, first things first, let's go ahead and talk about the fan art section, because if y'all are willing to spend your time making stuff about me and the memes on this channel, then I'm going to spend a little bit of time acknowledging and talking about it, because y'all do some pretty awesome shit. Caffeine Chaos says, here you go, Suris. Fan art of you trapped in the well of voices with myself insert for the Bendy universe. 2 versions of the drawing, with it being with and without the mask. I do hope you enjoy it. And the one with the mask, or without the mask, is here. So there are both of those. Thank you very much, Caffeine Chaos. This is really neat and creative, and I appreciate it. Also, Riverboat Jack, thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? I am fighting through physical agony in order to actually talk about politics, so I'm having a fantastic time right now. But thank you so much for the raid. Hopefully your chat will have a fun time here. I appreciate all of you. Abagodo, thank you very much for the follow. Ow, that was a flare-up. Okay, thanks, Tooth. Go away, please. I really want those painkillers to kick in right now. Anyway, as always, thank you very much for your fan art submission. If you want your fan art to be shown on a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it in the fan art section of the Discord. That said, oh boy. So, a Republican lawmaker with an ectopic pregnancy almost died thanks to the Florida abortion laws, but blames the left somehow. Ma'am, are you an idiot? Florida Republican Kat Kamek has revealed that she almost died last year as a result of her own state's 6-week abortion ban, which left hospital staff reluctant to treat her ectopic pregnancy for fear of criminal prosecution. So, you remember when we were arguing in hypotheticals like 5-6 years ago about what an abortion ban would look like and what they would do about ectopic pregnancies? And a lot of the naysayers basically said that, well, if an abortion ban happens, they would still allow it for medical emergencies. This world where women just die because they can't get abortions doesn't really exist. I remember those days. And I even remember one of the main people who argued that point. And I'm never going to forget you. You fucking moron. Anyway, that's personal beef from a long time dead older tradition on this channel of doing live debates. Something that my failing memory dictates that I don't do anymore. That all said, speaking to the Wall Street Ow. Please stop, Tooth. Hypervisor, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I do. Can I... Hold on. Can I apply pressure right here and then talk? That does lower the pain. Ah, fuck it. I hate this. Speaking of the Wall Street Journal, Kamek, 37, reported her experiences in an unnamed Florida hospital emergency room on May 31st, 2024, when it was discovered that there was no way for her baby's embryo to survive and that her own life was in danger without action. Van Brick says, would water help? No. If I get liquids near my tooth at all, I will be screaming in pain like a little baby, and nobody wants to see that except my worst enemies. I would rather not. I have already experienced that, and I will do everything in my power to not experience it again. A doctor discovered the embryo implanted where the fallopian tube meets the uterus, a coronal ectopic pregnancy, and frankly told the representative, if this ruptures, it'll kill you. But after deciding against the surgery, the facility's doctors and nurses had to be persuaded to give her the shot of methotrexate she required in order to expel the pregnancy. That was because the state's 6-week ban had come into effect the start of that month, causing staff to fear that they could lose their medical licenses and be sent to jail if they gave her the drug, which blocks the flow of folic acid to the embryo to prevent its growth. Kamek was only 5 weeks pregnant at the time. The embryo had no heartbeat and her own safety was in jeopardy, but nevertheless, the congresswoman found herself forced to pull up the letter of the law on her phone to argue the case and even put in a call to Governor Ron DeSantis without being able to reach him before the staff relented and came to her aid. What kind of a dystopian fucking world do you have to live in where you have to call your governor in order to get your life saved? What? How does that make any sense? How is that a world that you advocate for? Why? What? How is that a world? Like, it's a world you constructed, lady. Why do you think that that's a good thing? Florida regulators have since issued new guidelines to clarify the situation, and Kamek, who is pro-life and opposes abortion, except in the case of rape and incest, or, you know, in the moment where you need it. Jesus Christ. She is pregnant again and due in August, but surprisingly, given her ordeal, the rep does not feel the law itself is at fault, and instead blames Democrats for scaring medical professionals into confusion about their responsibilities. Ma'am, you are a moron. You are a grade A dumbass. Do you understand that Democrats would not be able to have any conversation about what would or would not happen to doctors if there was not a law that you fought for, that you advocated for, that almost got you killed? Do you understand that? Are you actually a fucking idiot? No. Guys, I need you to do this. If you live in Florida, I need you to do this so much for me right now. I need you to take this article. I need you to read it. I need you to get your information from it. And then I need you to do me the biggest favor of all time. Send me $5,000 so I can do fucking dental work. Anyway, no, that's a joke. That one's a joke. Don't do that. That's fine. I have a plan for this, regardless. Baster Keaton, thank you very much for the follow. Here's the actual plan. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to go to 5 calls, and I need you to get your representative's number, the number of her office, and I need there to be a constant, and I mean constant, non-stop effort to show this woman how much of a dumbass she is. Democrat lawmakers need to be scared for their jobs, and Republican lawmakers need to be shamed for being stupid. Because this is peak stupidity. You fought for a law that then damaged you, and then you blamed the people who didn't want that law put in the first place. How the fuck do you manage to be the living embodiment of a Jerry Springer show, but instead it's U.S. politics in Florida? That's the problem. It's in Florida. All the bad things happen in Florida or Texas. And right now, all the good things happen in New York and not Texas. Lenari says, give me her number. I'll yell at her. Just go to 5 calls. Go to 5. You'll be able to get your whatever congressperson you need on the line. Jesus. She says it was absolute fear-mongering at its worst, Kamek told the Journal, while acknowledging that reproductive rights activists might draw the opposite conclusion from her story. Yeah, and they would be correct. That fear-mongering, yes, it exists. You're right. I agree with that. I agree. But that fear-mongering cannot exist in a world where you did not make this law happen in the first place. This is the leopards almost eating your face from your uterine wall? And you doing everything in your power to pretend that that's not the case. This, in every way, shape, and possible form, was your fault. He says there will be some comments like, well, thank God we have abortion services, even though what I went through wasn't an abortion. Yes, it was. You had an embryo and it had to go. That is an abortion. What is the word that we use for abandoning a thing? Usually, because abandoning the thing will help preserve ourselves. If it is a mission, we use the word abort. And if it is a embryo or a zygote, the word we use is abort. You abort the thing. Ma'am, that's what you do. I'm surprised you do not know that. Kevik also conceded that the heated political atmosphere surrounding the issue in recent years has not served with the best interests of expectant mothers first. Ma'am, it's your fucking fault. You're part of the problem. This is all you. Have you tried sucking less? She said, I would stand with any woman and fight for them to be able to get care in a situation where they are experiencing a miscarriage. You shouldn't have to fight for that. There's no world where you should have to fight for that. You created the world where you have to fight for that. You created that world. The world where you have to do this does not exist without you being its architect. She says, we've turned the conversation about women's healthcare to two camps, pink hats and pink ribbons. It's either breast cancer or abortion. She said that it was vital that women lead the debate on reproductive rights among House Republicans because men outnumber them 6-1 within their caucus. Also reporting that one of her male colleagues almost sunk under the table when she mentioned breastfeeding in a recent conversation. We get it, ma'am. You're one of the good ones. Jesus Christ. Dr. Allison Haddock, president of the American College for Emergency Physicians, told the Journal that it is becoming common for doctors in states that have restricted abortion access to worry whether their clinical judgment will stand should there be any prosecution. This has been a real stress point for a lot of our physicians. Molly Duane, a senior attorney at the Center for Reproductive Rights, took issue with Kamek's argument that pro-choice activists were to blame for sowing confusion, pointing out that Florida's regulators had made it clear that they intended to aggressively enforce their 6 weeks ban while also failing to define ectopic pregnancy within the legislation. I also have great news. Apparently, the painkillers are starting to kick in because it hurts to talk less now. I want to view the comments. I want to see what people are saying about this. She's a politician first. Her efforts to blame Democrats for the fear and confusion by her doctors does not hold water. The ambiguity and threat of prosecution embedded into Florida's GOP-led law, which was created and enacted entirely by Republican legislators, Governor Ron DeSantis, are the direct cause of hesitation in her care. Blaming Democrats for her predicament rather than the laws themselves is an attempt to deflect responsibility. Good. People get that. She also said it wasn't an abortion, it was a miscarriage. She miscarried because she got the shot to terminate the pregnancy. I wonder if she knows how ridiculous she sounds after actually going through the process of her pregnancy in public view. I'm not sure if she's aware that she told she was given the shot to the press. Also, what I went through wasn't an abortion. Ectopic pregnancy. Shot of methotrexate to expel the pregnancy. Textbook definition of a medical abortion. She literally can't tell the truth if her life depends on it. Jesus Christ. Soon they will rename the San Andreas Fault to Joe Biden's fault. Instead of listening to the lawmaker using this for political reasons, let's let doctors decide as once was the past. Yep. She's the poster child for cognitive dissonance. Yep. Jesus. Not a single person in these comments on Yahoo, of all things, is in her favor. So, if the ectopic pregnancy had been discovered 7 days later, at 6 weeks instead of 5, then she would have been unable to get the treatment as needed. Ma'am, you were 7 days away from dying, and it's your own fault. You loaded the gun, you aimed it at yourself, and then you blamed the left when you had your own finger on the goddamn trigger. This is, like, I don't want to say this is cathartic, but definitionally, this is schadenfreude. This is. This woman went through hell, and she suffered, invariably, and the suffering happened entirely as a result of her own actions. As a Republican lawmaker who made a law knowing full well what it would end up doing. You knew the end results of this. And now that you're suffering with the end results of this, you're like, actually, it's Democrats' fault. So, we're going to be doing a new rule. Republican voters get to be taken seriously. Republican voters are people who can be misjudging, who can not understand things. They can be ignorant. Republican voters can be your friends and can be turned into people who will vote for more left-leaning causes. I shudder to call them Democratic voters because vote blue no matter who is starting to show some cracks in how functional that actually is, and we'll talk about that when we get into the conversation about the big bill. And my tooth is starting to hurt more now, but I thought the painkillers were kicking in. Not a big fan of that. Anyway. So, why did tooth pain derail me? Of all the things to derail me, why? Jesus. Anyway, what I was trying to say is Republican voters can be convinced. Republican voters can be talked to and can be reasoned with. There is a certain strategy to Republican lawmakers. Instead of reasoning with them, instead we have to threaten them. And when I say threaten them, I don't mean with a goddamn gun. That doesn't do anything. All you do is you make yourself out to look like an asshole, or at worst, a martyr. You're just causing more problems at that point. You threaten Republican lawmakers with their job. You threaten them with primarying them. You threaten them with making sure that they know that if they don't change how they're operating, you're going to get a different Republican in office. Now, they don't need to know that you're not a registered Republican. They don't need to know that you don't vote in the Republican primaries. If a politician can lie about their shit, then you get to lie about your shit. Use 5 calls, talk to your Republican representatives, and let them know that if they do not change their tune on abortion and they do not try to fight to get these laws taken out, then you will be primarying them with an alternative, a more moderate Republican, if you will. They don't need to know that you're a leftist. They don't need to know that you don't necessarily have that kind of power. They just need to feel like their jobs are at risk. That is what you do here. And then, of course, you can always lobby. You can always go and talk to them directly. But remember that you're fighting against other lobbies as well, so get involved with a group in order to do that. I almost mentioned a group's name, but that group failed to show out people for a protest when they said they would, so I won't actually suggest that group now. So, you're on your own on that one. I apologize, but that's what happened. That's Florida. There are groups in Georgia that I know are better at handling stuff like this. People like Equality Georgia, people like the DSA, can get you groups of lobbyists and protesters and can do a pretty damn good job of it. That said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I want to know what your plan is for this. You can cathartically make fun of this woman. You can call all your lawmakers and you can threaten primarying them. You've got a bunch of options here, some that are good for the soul and some that are good for politics. Take your pick and let me know what you're going to be doing in the comment section below. I appreciate it. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full-time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Limor Pinku, Love Bunny Games, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Aurora, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press, though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.